Hey gang, welcome to another video at Joe Daddy's Workshop. This video is going to be completely different from the normal stuff that I do because I want to show you how I do some editing. Now, several people have asked me about this and how I make my videos. So this is a total new experience for me. I didn't even know I could record from my screen with this, but if you look, I'm using wondershare filmora, and this is version number 9. Now this is the basic format for any videos that I make. In order for me to make videos, I have to download media and then progressively put it on the screen down here so that I can do some editing. Now I will go up here and show you some features. You know, this is your media button, and it talks about media that you can use or pull from. There are various things included with the system. Has an audio button which has some music included, and there's music that I put on here from my YouTube files where you can get free music. This is a section called titles, and this is where you can make your own title out of any of these formats that you see here. And I'm just scrolling through and showing you some of the differences. And then you have transitions, and there's more than these 4. These are my favorites. But if you click on included, there's a bunch of various transition effects or styles. Another button says effects, and this is stuff you can do to add to your film or your video to make it look like it's a certain way. Like this is old footage here. There's various effects that you can add to your video, but I don't use any of that stuff. And then elements, this is kind of cool. If you look over here on the left, you have a variety of things that you can use, like tutorial. Occasionally I'll put an arrow in my videos pointing to something that I want to highlight. There's a variety of things on here, hands, fingers, hearts, whatever. There's shapes, so you can have like explosions, stuff like that, and just various things. But again, I'm not really worried about doing any of that right now or showing you any of that. But I want to show you how I do a video. Now I just made a video. I have not done any editing yet, and so this is the process. Whenever I want to start, I go to media. I click on this button that says import media files, and I've already got the files loaded, let's say, but if I go back a step, and this is just the memory card from my camera. So these are all files that I've made previously. You have to click on this. Now you can do this a couple different ways, but this is how I do it. I like to use the whole file. Click open, and then these videos appear, or these segments appear on the in that section where it is the media. Now I'll tell you this: if you click right now on this, say this button, it's going to ask you how do you want it to look, and it gives you these different media options. I just click on the one on the left because it's 30 frames per second. It's a little bit better. If I click on that, it is now going to load that segment onto this bar down here. Now, that is not where I want to start with. That is not my opener, but I'm just showing you that at this point. So I can go here and click undo, and then I'm going to start with a title. So I click on title, and in this case, I'm just going to use my traditional Joe Daddy's Workshop. I'm going to go back to media for a second here. Now, excuse me. What you can do with this is you hit the play button, and it's going to show you that process of that particular title. Now, if you want to configure that title or any other title, you just double click on it, and it'll come up over here on the left, and you can change the wording. You can change the type of letters, how they look, a variety of different things. I don't get very concerned with having it overly complicated. So at this point, I'm using, in this instance, an animation feature that when you click on animation, it gives you different ways to make those appear. And that's something you just need to experiment with. so that you can see what they do and whether it fits your purpose. You can see that I'm clicking on or I'm hovering over it, and it's just showing variations of how those appear. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that. I like it the way it is. Now what I want to do is start with the first video that I've added. It's a very short sequence, and I'm showing the introduction to the video. So let's just see what happens. I click the play button. Raise your hand if this has ever happened to you. Okay, so in this video, I'm putting together or trying to put away a tent that my oldest son borrowed and didn't get put away properly. So what I'm going to do is come back here, and you see there's a bit of dead space where I'm moving this bar. If I click somewhere in this area and I hit the scissors, now it's going to highlight that section. I can click again on that, left click, and then I can delete that. So I click right click, and it brings up these other options. So you have various functions here: cut, copy, paste, delete, crop and zoom, crop to fit. You can just read through those and see what's available. You can do stabilization, color correction, a whole bunch of effects, but I'm not really worried about that. I just want to eliminate that little bit of space. At this point, I'm going to add a transition. So I'm going to go to the ones that I have saved. Let me see if I can, maybe they're not. Hold on. They're there. I know they're there. Favorites. There it is. Click on favorites, and I'll do a clockwise. Now, if you click on this, it'll say add to project, but it doesn't really tell you where. So for ease of purpose, I bring it down and I put it exactly where I want it. So there, now I have a transition. So I hit the play button. Raise your hand if this has ever happened to you. Okay, so that's just showing the opener for my sequence. Now here I'm going to have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to eliminate this last segment. I'm going to go back to media, click on this one. Well, I'll put it on the timeline. And if you'll notice, there's a little action figure here in the back. Well, in the first segment, if you go back there, you see his arm is down. If you come to this next segment, his arm is up. So all I want to do is have a little fun with this. I'm going to eliminate, let me see if I can do this. I'll put the transition, and in this case I'll use a linear wipe. And what it does is it smooths out the transition. So if I click on that, bring it down, and I hit play. Has ever happened to you? So there you saw, now he has his little arm up, and he's just letting you know, hey, this has happened to me before. So there, I will now eliminate the end of that and get rid of it. All right. Now, I will go back to media and click on the next video section. So that is this right here. I'm going to add that to the media. Now what happens is, between the time that you start your video, which is way back here, I hit the start button, and then I have to step forward and get into the frame to make the scene. So a lot of times what I'll do is just eliminate that part of the video because it doesn't make sense, it doesn't really matter, and I'll eliminate that. So I'm going to click on somewhere in this range. I'll look at where my hand gesture is or how I'm sitting and decide if I like it or not. So in this case I'm going to start right there, eliminate this, and then my transition, because I used the clockwise rotation, I want to make this a new segment, so I'll do a counterclockwise rotation. And this is all part of the flow process. I just want it to look like I'm being consistent. So if I do this counterclockwise first, or clockwise I should say, the transition here, and then counterclockwise, it kind of creates a little short segment. Raise your hand if this has ever happened to you. Okay, so now I'm back to the video and I can continue on. Now, sometimes you make mistakes or you get wording wrong or stuff like that. I'm just going to show you I'm just going to go through this and we'll see how it looks. Hey gang, something a little bit different today. You know, I always try to show things or try to explain things or, have, no. Okay, so that segment is no good. So I'm gonna cut this, left click, right click, delete. But when you do that, you lose that transition. Now, there may be other people that show you a better way to do this. I'm just showing you what I know and what I've taught myself in doing this. So now, I'm going to go through the sequence again. Hey, Workshop gang. I have something different for you today. I'm going to attempt to put away this tent. Now, to give you some perspective, I've had this tent for probably 20 years. Okay, so I know what I'm going to be saying at this point, and I can kind of skip ahead, and there's nothing I really need to edit that I can see. So I can skip ahead and just kind of... And that's how the tent is in the bag. Okay, so at this point, I'm going over the details and talking about what I'm going to be doing and just showing the subject matter, in this case, this tent. So I'm going to skip ahead, and you can just grab the bar and slide along and get to a point. Now, down here at the bottom, you can see where you're talking. And sometimes you may need to adjust the volume. So, and I don't really want to mess with this at the moment. Let's just say I want this section to be louder. So I can click on this. That puts a cut line. I come forward. I put another cut line. Now I have control over the volume of just that segment. So if I want to, I can make that really loud. So let's just see what that sounds like. Up like this. Pay attention to how it comes out of the bag. See? But now I don't want that. That's too loud. So I'm going to undo over here on the left. I'll click undo, undo, undo. And now it's right back where it was. And I can just let it flow. So I'll go back and just listen to it again. Up like this. Pay attention to how it comes out of the bag, and then just put it back in the same way. That's your easiest process. Okay. So at this point, I know what's going to happen, but I'm going to just watch the rest of the video here. All right. So I'm stepping away from the camera, and I think I'm double checking the viewfinder to make sure that what I want seen is being seen. But at this point, it's dead footage. So I'll come back here, finish out this segment. How all this stuff was in the bag. All right, so now I'm going to eliminate that scene. Have no use for it. Now, there's a couple things you can do at this point. I mean, if you want to change the color, you can change the color. Like if I clicked on right click, you can do the color correction if you want. Sometimes I will do this a little bit, but I don't really need to. So I'm just showing you this as an option. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to go back to media and pull up the next file. And I'll click on the plus button, add to project, and it's going to put it right on the end of that last segment. Now, if you'll notice, there's a little slider bar down here at the bottom. So you can slide anywhere you want on the video, but way out here, that is your cut bar. Okay, that's the one that really matters. Now the trick is, you need that bar to be, do your modifications and tuning. So if I come back here, that bar stays at the other end. Well, that's not where I want it. It's not where I need it. So let me go back all the way to the beginning of this video, and if you come up here and just click, that bar will come over and get right where you need it to be to continue on. Okay, now I'm going to go through a sequence. Okay, I'm going to try to get all this stretched out so you can see what I'm working with. Now, again, I'm just giving a brief discussion about what I'm going to be working on or how I'm going to be doing it. So if I back up a little bit, and you have to wait for a minute because depending on your PC or computer, it's going to take it a little bit for the sound to show up on this bottom bar. There it is. Now it's shown up. So I'm going to back up a second and just let it flow through. And At this point, I want to eliminate that dead space. So I'm going to click, left click, right click, delete. Again, I'm starting a new segment, so I'm going to transition with a clockwise. And again, this is just what I do. You know, you can do it however you want. I'm just showing you my technique. Okay, I'm going to try to get all this stretched out. Now, you'll notice the audio is a lot louder here. That has to do with the fact that I'm right next to the camera. I'm not going to mess with that. I think I'll just leave it alone because it's real, but I'm going to let it move forward and we'll see how it looks. So you can see what I'm working with. Now, at this point, I recognize where I'm at on the timeline is about 2 minutes, and I'm going to move forward and see where I actually start messing with something. Is it worth it to leave the little bit of dead space? Probably, but I'm not going to. I'm going to cut that, move forward just a hair, and eliminate this. And I do this because I want people to be interested and not lose the subject matter, let's say. I just want it to be a smooth flow. So now I'm going to go with this linear wipe and bring this down and put that over top of that, because now it'll look like I'm just kind of appearing what I'm working with. See? Now at this point, I'm trying to, again, define the subject matter, and I'm just going to go forward a little bit. Just so you know, this is a Coleman tent. Okay, now I already know from looking at my timeline that this lower bar here, there's not a lot going on. So I'm going to speed this up because, again, I want to keep the viewer interested, but I want them to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to come forward to this point, somewhere right about there, and I'm going to speed this up. So I'm going to right click, and if you notice, it says speed and duration right about in the middle there. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to give you some options. You can actually reverse this if you wanted to. You can, I don't know what the ripple edit is, I'm not messing with that, but here it gives you a variation for speed. So I'm going to click on that. Instead of using this bar, because it's hard to tune that bar to exactly where you want it, you know, it's very, very touchy. So I'm going to click on this, and a lot of times I use 2.5. So I want to speed that up to 2.5 times. I'll click OK, and now you can see this shortens up dramatically. So if we flow through that, now there was a little bit of a dead spot where I was playing with the rope that was caught on one of the hooks. I just may let that go at this point, and then what happens is when you reduce the speed, the next segment stays away. And I think they do that so that if you wanted to, you could do undo. So I'll click on undo just to show you, and it fills that space back up. I click forward, and it takes it back to where it was. But if you try to expand that on your own, it will fight you because it can't move this one. You have to move this segment to have room for this segment. All right, so let me click through this. Now what I want to see is where I'm at on the video. So I'm going to pull this over, and I'm just going to let it flow for a minute. Should be 2 poles here. And there are. Okay. I'm not going to go into detail about putting the tent up. Uh-oh. Well, that's the, there's 3 poles. This is for the rain fly. Okay. Now at this point, I already know that the next area, this is all going to be kind of dead space, or, you know, dead time in a way, because I'm not talking. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and just see how that looks. All right. So there, I'm going to shorten up all this time right here. Let me go back to where I was because I don't know if I cut. Yeah, I didn't cut it right. So I'm going to come forward again. I'm not going to go into detail about putting the tent up. Uh-oh. Well, that's the, there's 3 poles. This is for the rain fly. Now, I have to hit this again because I didn't get that cut where I wanted it. Alright, let me do speed and duration. I'm going to speed that up again. Slide this one over. And I don't need to do any transitions between these because it's just going to move. It's just going to show me in fast forward. And what I can do, though, is eliminate some of this. So if I want to click this, eliminate some of that time, just to shorten it up. Again, I'm going to delete that. Start the process, come forward a little bit, eliminate this. Now I've just shortened up that sped up moment. I've even shortened it more. So just gonna go through it. Okay, don't need to worry about those. Now I'm going to talk about the tent itself. At this point, I just want to see what the video shows. And I'm trying to gently get this out of the bag, but it's fighting me a little bit. Now again, I'm going to talk about something here, so I'm going to approach the camera. Just so you know, this is a Coleman 9x9 dome tent. And you know, it's going to give you your instructions for putting it up, but I don't know that it gives you instructions for putting it away. And again, this isn't about putting the tent up, it's about storing the tent. Alright, so I can come back to this segment and I can speed this up a little bit, just because. And again, I'm just trying to make things move quicker so that people stay interested. So I'll move this up. I'll speed this up to 2 or double the speed, and then pull this back, and that helps just eliminate a little bit of time. Now I'll also eliminate the steps that I'm making to the camera, just because, and then I'll do another transition with a linear wipe, and it just kind of lets it flow smoothly. Just so you know, this. Okay, now this next segment is going to be, well, some of it will have sound like talking, but a lot of it I think is just going to be kind of dead action space, you know, or not really making a lot of sounds other than the sound of the tent. So I'm just going to skip through this a little bit. And I can tell you that okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to cut that, come back here, and I want to start the action to where I'm starting to unroll it, and I'll speed this up. And by doing that, I don't just jump right into a fast process. So it just, to me, it makes it smoother. So there, now let's take a look at that, just see how that looks. Now, another thing I can do is eliminate some of this, because I'm not really gaining much. And it looks kind of neat whenever you eliminate some of the stuff going on. It just kind of moves through the sequence. So we're going to flow through that, see how it looks. And I can eliminate this little segment here. It's not going to hurt. Bring this forward, or back I should say. And here I'll probably put in the linear wipe. And I could do this in the other segments as well. You don't have to, but it just helps it flow a little more smoothly. And even if you're not doing it to where, let's say I put that linear wipe there, that may not matter because the transition for the video may not change at all. But I can still put it there, and there you saw it. It just kind of made a little shudder. If you watch there, so I don't like that, so I'm going to take that off. Whoops, yeah, take that one off. Put this one back. Now we'll watch it again. Smooth. And I can tell you that just wadding it up into a ball is probably not the answer that you want to go for. Just a comment on the process. Now, I'm going to do a cut here and go back to working on the tent. So I'll eliminate this little segment, do a transition, and we'll go for. Now I'm going to speed this up again because it's just kind of boring, right? So I'll get to this point and I'll speed this up. And then I'll pull this back and we'll see how that looks. Now see there, I said something that is really not relevant. I mean, it's not going to matter much. I can leave it or I can just let it go, but I was saying tent stakes. So if I back up and listen to it, it's not going to hurt anything to just eliminate that or let it go as a fast forward type of thing. Now, one thing I've always tried to do is when I do this is I use the length of the bag. You know, that tells you how much space you really have. And you compare that to, let's say, the length of the poles. You know, poles are a little bit shorter than the bag, but if you look at it, it kind of gives you an idea where you need to fold. Okay, so your tent. The sound is kind of low right there, so I'm just going to back this up, and I'm going to bring that sound up just a little bit. Or you can double click, left click, and it brings you up this screen. So you can click on audio and you can change it right here. You can just use this button on the left and you can see it makes a change in the sound or the volume. So we'll just listen to that a second. Look at it. Kind of gives you an idea where you need to fold your tent. So there, now you can hear the sound louder. So essentially, it should be 4 sections, I think, is what it works out to. And a lot of times you can look on your tent and get a what I call a witness mark, where it was folded before. Okay, so at this point, I need to increase the volume in that area as well. So I'll double click on it again, and I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to try to match the 2 bars down here at the bottom. So this one's at 4.55, this one's at 3.62. But I'm going to see how it sounds first before I get too far ahead. So essentially, it should be 4 sections, I think, is what it works out to. And a lot of times you can look on your tent and get a what I call a witness mark, where it was folded before. Okay, now I want to move forward, and I'm showing the process of getting the tent into its collapsed form. So let me look at this, see what it says. In my case, those are probably gone because it was all messed up to begin with. Alright, so there I can go back and tune that sound again. me see if this will. Alright, so let's go play that. In my case, those are probably gone because it was all messed up to begin with. Okay, so now I'm going through the process of making this tent the size that it needs to be to get into the bag. Let me see what this says right here. Again, I'm trying to do this from memory. Okay, so I will back this up, hit the cut line, speed up this section right here, because otherwise it's kind of boring, right? Pull this back and then play through to begin with. Again, I'm trying to do this from memory. Okay, so now I've got that little segment, and I know that I need to speed this up. So let me see what this says right here, if anything. Hopefully, that's within the range. Alright, so I'm going to come back, cut, speed and duration, and I'll make this, again, 2.5. Pull this back. Now this, again, this bar down here at the bottom is a sound bar, or the sound, and it looks like, let me see how far that goes. I may be further ahead just to increase the volume. Well, all the way to this point. Let me go back. And this is part of the whole process, is trying to make sure that things, you know, sound decent, look decent. And let's see if I'm talking here. You know, they're kind of tapered in the middle. Okay. So at this point, I want to increase the volume in this section as well. Whoops. No, I didn't do it right because I didn't hit the cut line. There we go. So I pull this up. I'm on the wrong side now. Go back. Click on this one. Nope. Hold on. There we go. Click on this one. Now it's got a blue bar around it. It's highlighted. I can bring that up just a little bit. See how that sounds. Hopefully, that's within the range of what I'm looking for. I'm not going to finish that just yet, though, because I want to also make sure that the rain fly. All right, come forward. I've got the wind helping. Now what I want to do is speed this up just a little bit. See what this does, how it looks. Pull this back. But it's really the same kind of concept, you know? You only have so much space to deal with. Increase the sound a little bit. But it's really the same kind of concept, you know? You only have so much space to deal with. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure that most of this is just the sound of putting away the tent itself. So let me see, I'm gonna come back here, splice or cut I should say, and let me see how this looks. So click forward. Alright, I'm going to cut here and speed this up. That really shortens up that whole sequence. And I got to bring this one back. But what I want to see is how this looks. So I'm going to hit the play button. And I know I already can eliminate some of this. So if I take that Come over here. Let that play a little bit. And again, I'm just trying to eliminate some dead space. Okay, let's see how that looks. Got that. Okay, now again, just for smoothness, I'll come up here and add these transition points. Make sure this is right. Yep. So I just add some transitions to it just to make it look smoother. And there's a way you can do this all at once, but because I do various transitions, I try to do it all, by each individual splice. So. All right, now let me see what we have going on. Set that aside for the moment. Hopefully I'm in frame here. All right, if I remember. Turn this up a little bit. Set that aside for the moment. Hopefully I'm in frame here. All right, if I remember. Got some dead space. Actually. So I'm going to come back, eliminate some of this. I'll do, again, the linear just to smooth it out. Actually. Now I want to see what else I've said or what I'm, working on, so just going to move forward through it. Yeah, those go in later. You could put them in the middle, but those will go in later. Now I kind of changed my mind in this after this segment, so let me just back up just a second. Start this process again. Actually. Speed this up. Oh, I messed up. Hold on. Because I didn't want to cut that. I cut that in the wrong spot. I didn't cut it at all, actually. Let me verify. Speed and duration. Okay, now I can pull that back. We'll see how this flows. Yeah, those go in later. You could put them in the middle, but those will go in later. Now, again, I changed my mind in the middle of the sequence, but I'm going to cut here. Sometimes I hit the click button twice just to make sure. I'm going to speed this up. in part of the bundle. I'm going to turn up the volume just a little bit on that segment. You know, I may just do it that way. Get them all in part of the bundle. Now, I'm going to speed this up some more because, again, it gets kind of dry. Let me see how this looks. So here we go. Let me see if I can get the right click, speed and duration. Again, 2.5, it's usually my go-to. That'll speed that up, bring this back, watch the sequence. May eliminate just a little bit. This poor bag is so beat up, but look at that. Okay, so I'm going to add, I'm going to change that a little bit and add some volume, just because. This poor bag is so beat up, but look at that. This bag is falling apart from just time, but it all fits. Imagine that. Imagine that. Now we're just going to kind of move forward here a little bit. Yeah. Let me speed that up just a hair. Just for a little segment. I'm just going to go 2 or double the speed, pull this back. All right. I hope you learned something from that. You know, it's a matter of sequence. I said it before on all my other videos. Sequence is scored, right? Because sometimes you do things and there's a process that has to be followed for it to work properly. And there's actually plenty of room left in this bag, but now you know how to put away a 9x9 Coleman tent. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to eliminate some of the stuff where I'm clearing off, you know, wiping my face or whatever, because I had something get my eye, I don't know. Tent. How about that? Alright, so I'm going to back that up just a little bit. Let me see how that looks. Coleman tent. So I can just eliminate that whole little piece right there, just for smoothness. I'm going to do a transition. Alright, that'll be the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a comment, thumbs up, all those cool things, and help this channel grow along with the other channel. And I'll continue to do more off-the-wall how-to videos. And that's going to be it. So, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya. Okay, so just a simple exit there. I'm going to trim off this last section, and that's going to be it. So, you know, I can add, I have preset titles over here, so in this case I'll add this one because it's just like a closer. I'll do a transition to where it does a sweep, clockwise sweep, and that'll be it. So at this point, the only thing I have left to do is render the timeline. And what I'll do, you come out here to this and you click on this button and it says render preview. Hit enter, and it's going to take a period of time before all that is complete. But once it renders it and makes everything smooth, the next step, and I probably just won't show this, but you come up here and you hit export on this button. When you hit export, it brings up another bar or block for you to label the title of your video. And so that's all you need to do is title it, say, putting away a tent, whatever, hit export, and then the next sequence, it'll create the video from the render, and then you're done. And of course, the next step from there is putting it onto YouTube or wherever you want to do it. Now, I do know that there's other options available on here, like there's an export button up here. Supposedly it'll take it directly to YouTube, but I'm just going from what I know and this process. So I'm going to end this video because otherwise it's just going to sit here be filming pointless things. But that's going to be the end of this video. So I hope this was helpful. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you have some other input or ideas you may want to share with me or other viewers. But that'll be the end of this one. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Leave a thumbs up and a comment. And as I say, until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.